let's just get into these Western Conference teams, starting off with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They should be the favorites. 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 However, I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I definitely don't. I think the Western Conference is better than it was last year, and it's healthier. And the young teams in this Western Conference from a year ago have only gotten better and have only gotten more continuity. I'm talking about teams like the Rockets, who added Kevin Durant. They lost the continuity, but they added the experience. The Spurs obviously come to mind. Jamal Murray's having the best season of his career in Denver, but the Thunder should be the favorites. I mean, they have the MVP, championship pedigree, number one record in the NBA, number one net rating, number one defensive rating, the number one score. The biggest question mark to me with the Oklahoma City Thunder is what type of Jalen Williams are you getting? Is Jalen Williams going to be 100% because he's dealt with a hamstring, he dealt with the wrist injury all year? What type of J-Dub are you getting? Because you're going to need not only is he the second scoring option, him or Chet at this point, because Chet's had a terrific year as well, but he's also a really good defender. And you're going to need that type of defensive versatility that warranted the Thunder to have the number one net defense. I think back-to-back years, I think they were number one last year as well. You're going to need that J-Dub that showed up and had 40 in game 5. Like, you're going to need that Jalen Williams down the stretch in the playoffs, especially against a team like the Spurs that has had the Thunder's number. You're going to need that guy at 100%. And is he at 100% with all of the injuries he's been dealing with over the course of the season? Is he going to be in playoff shape? Is he going to be able to give you peak Jalen Williams, who was incredible for the Thunder on the run they went on last year? That's a question that needs answering as well. I'll tell you this, though. Chet Holmgren has been unbelievable. AJ Mitchell has been unbelievable. And boy, are they deep. Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Alex Caruso, Jared McCain. They are incredibly deep. They have a ton of experience now in the playoffs. They've won a championship. They know the blueprint. They know what it takes. And SGA is having the best season of his career. So, yes, the Thunder are deservedly the one seed of the best team in the NBA this season, and they deserve to be the favorites. However, the Spurs team is 4-1 against the Thunder in the regular season. So I don't think this is going to be an easy run by any stretch of the imagination, especially with the top 3 teams in this conference, though. It was so imperative that the Thunder got the number one seed because they're going to play, who is it? Let me look at the bracket. It'd be the Lakers or the Rockets. I don't know if, let me get it in front of me here. I don't want to sound like a fucking moron. I'm pretty sure that's right, though. It would be the Lakers or the Rockets in the second round. Why is ESPN being stupid, bro? Just show me the playoff bracket, ESPN. Just show me the playoff bracket. I'm in no mood. So they play the Lakers. Okay, yeah, the Lakers or Rockets in the second round. That is a fucking wipe. The Rockets have been one of the worst teams in the NBA this season when they have a lead, and I don't think they're going to have a lot of leads against the Thunder. I do think the Rockets take care of the Lakers. We'll get into them momentarily, but the Thunder have a really, really easy path to the NBA or to the Western Conference Finals because they were able to fend off the Spurs, who made a really good push at the end of the year for that one seed, because the Spurs are going to have to face, first of all, this Trailblazers team. They're not going down in 4 games. I would argue they're not going down in 5 games. Denny Abida, however the fuck you said his name. I said I'd know how to say his name by today's episode, and I lied. But that guy's a baller. That guy, I saw ball. He's got bad work. They're a deep team. Donovan Clingan and company. Shannon Sharp, they've got guys. Sharon Sharp, they got guys. Shannon Sharp, they got guys. I said his name wrong 3 different times. They got guys. That team's not going to roll over and die, and the Spurs do lack a lot of continuity. Also, the Nuggets have to play the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves aren't going to roll over and die either. You're not going to get an easy out with Anthony fucking Edwards on the other side of basketball. Everybody wrote Anthony Edwards off 2 years ago. They had no shot that team's going to make any noise. Western Conference Finals last year against the Lakers in the first round after the Lakers acquired Luka Doncic. Yeah, no shot, right? Well, sweet. What? Timberwolves in 5, no contest. Anthony Edwards is that much of a baller, so you can't overlook Ant. If you're the Spurs, should handle the Blazers. The Nuggets should beat the Timberwolves, but then those two got to beat up on each other for the whole round. While the Thunder get to play the Suns or the Warriors, and then they go on to play the Lakers. If the Lakers win, that win against the Rockets, which I don't foresee happening, that could cause a little bit of problems because they might be able to get AR back. I don't think Luka's coming back unless they make the NBA final. I don't think that's going to happen. But even then, like, a fully healthy Lakers team, I'm still taking the Thunder in 6. A Lakers team without Luka, I'm taking the Thunder in 4, even with Austin Reeves fully healthy. So they have a cakewalk to the Western Conference Finals, where the other side of that bracket, I think, is just an absolute bloodbath. So that's worth noting. Like, locking up the 1 seed was crucial for the Thunder in the Western Conference. Let's talk about the Spurs, man. I think the Spurs have unequivocally been the second best team in the NBA. You could argue they've been the best team. Well, they have been record-wise since the All-Star break. Second best net rating, third best defensive rating, third best offensive rating. Wemby's the best defensive player, not just in the NBA, but the best defensive player I've ever seen on a basketball court. And I don't think that's an overreaction. They've had the best record in the NBA since the All-Star break. The Spurs became the fourth team in NBA history to win at least 60 games after missing the playoffs the year before. Dylan Harper, going to be an all-rookie team. Keldon Johnson, sixth man of the year. Stephon Castle, one of the best defensive players in the NBA. They have some really good young ascending role pieces in Champagny and Devin Vassell. They are a really, really locked in squad, man. The Spurs are a real problem. The only problem is experience. And this Thunder team a couple of years ago that was the number one seed in the Western Conference that lost to Luka, Kyrie, and the Mavericks. Jalen Williams didn't have that good of a season of a series. Chet Holmgren didn't have that good of a season. Experience really, really matters in the playoffs, especially. And the Spurs are a young athletic team that likes to run. This game's going to get slowed down in the half court. Do they have a guy that can operate the offense? I think so. I think in Indy, Aaron Fox is a pretty good veteran guy to rely on, but this team likes to run. I think they're going to be just fine. I think they should win the first round, but in the second round against a team like the Denver Nuggets or even Ant-Man, bro, like that, they just have so much playoff experience, and I think that does matter. Wemby is an alien, but again, the playoff experience really, really does matter. I will be rooting for the Spurs because I have a Victor Wembanyama Finals MVP future that I placed back in fucking October that I will be riding. So I will be rooting for the Spurs this entire postseason as we ride that ticket together. But they're a really good squad. They're not going anywhere, but playoff experience does matter if we've learned anything from the past, and they just don't have any of it. Zero. Zilch nada besides De'Aaron Fox, and he lost to Steph Curry. So it's like it's hard to write off Wemby and the Spurs team. They're really solid. They've been the best team in the NBA since the All-Star break. Really elite defensively with the best defensive player in the history of the sport. De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Keldon Johnson. They have good guard play. They have good depth. They have all the pieces of a championship caliber team, quite frankly, but they don't, but besides the experience. And when have we seen a team that just has zero playoff experience, their first year in the playoffs, they just go on a run to the NBA finals and win it all? Like, I feel like that just doesn't fucking happen. Continuity is important, and going through adversity, I think, is really important, especially in the playoffs, the way the Thunder did, the way Jokic and the Nuggets did for like 4 years before they broke through, like losing to LeBron in the Western Conference Finals in the bubble. Like, shit like that needs to happen for your team to build chemistry, to build continuity, to finally attack. And the Spurs are a year or two away from it. I think next year they could be this year they can win. I mean, their floor is lower, but their ceiling is an NBA title. And the Spurs and Thunder, I think, are going to be two teams that are just boom clashing for the next 5 fucking years in the Western Conference. So they're a really good team. Obviously, experience does matter. You can't understate how much experience matters. And this third seed in the Western Conference has a shitload of that. The Denver Nuggets. Jokic is the best player in the world. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. Two things can be true at once. But what's been so huge for the Denver Nuggets is Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray is playing the best basketball of his career. And when Aaron Gordon is on the floor, that just brings everything together defensively with Cam Johnson, Christian Brown. If Peyton Watson can get to the way he was playing in January, he was averaging 20 points per game. Jamal Murray can continue playing at the level that he's been playing at, one of the most clutch players in the league this season. He had a career high in points, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 3-pointers made. He was also one of the most clutch players in the league. Like I said, if Jamal Murray can play the way he has been playing this regular season in the postseason, which he has been historically a postseason riser, besides a few like 3-4 game spurts here and there, then this Thunder team can absolutely get back to the NBA Finals. They've lost back-to-back Game 7s. That's how their season has ended, and they have way more experience than the San Antonio Spurs, who would be likely be their opponent in the second round. And Nikola Jokic is a fucking problem, bro. Remember, Nikola Jokic is a problem, and I think they're a way better defensive team when Aaron Gordon's on the floor than what their net rating says there. Their net rated like 20th in defensive rating, but Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown is a good depth piece. Peyton Watson is a good depth piece off the bench to score the basketball. Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, obviously a traffic code defensively. But other than that, like, they've surrounded him with a bunch of really good, versatile defenders. That could be huge for them. I think it's really underrated how good their defense is. And Aaron Gordon is a really athletic, good, long, physical, athletic defender that can contain or at least maybe make a guy like Wemby or Chet a little bit less efficient. And if you can do that, especially against a team like the Spurs, you give yourself a really good chance to win. So I like the Denver Nuggets a whole lot. I think they get past the Spurs in the second round, but without going through my predictions yet. But the Denver Nuggets are a really solid squad. I love the Joker. I love Jamal Murray. I've been a Jamal Murray guy ever since him and Donovan Mitchell went back and forth in the bubble back in 2020. These top three teams are tough, man. I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people think. And I know it's like Spurs, Thunder in the regular season, a little bit of a drop off, and then Denver. But Denver's also gone on a really, really impressive run to end the year. Not really that impressive. They beat up on a bunch of garbage teams, but they've been one of the hottest teams going into this into the NBA playoffs. So they're an interesting team to look at. I think those three are your two title. Like I would be shocked if not if we didn't see one of those teams representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Number 4, the Lakers first round exit. The Lakers are a first round fucking exit. Everybody's just glorifying this. LeBron James, he's got one more run in him. Sweet. They're getting swept. They're absolutely getting swept. I think Luka and AR's injuries are worse than they think, especially Luka's. I don't think Luka comes back until like a grade 2 hamstring. That's not something you can just like. That's not good. Like he's not. He's gonna be gone. He's done. He's toast. Cooked. AR, I'm not exactly sure the extent of his injury. Even if they get him back against the Rockets, where's the jump shooting coming from? If without Luka and AR, where's the scoring? Where's the offensive output coming from? Rui Hachimura, Jake LaRavia, Luke Kennard, LeBron James as your leading scoring option in 2026. That's a joke. The Lakers are getting absolutely swept. Everyone is going to be glazing LeBron and be like, "Oh, LeBron's got one more in him." Bro, I'm telling you, this Rockets team also has had a lot of maybe put a little bit of their chemistry woes and their ability to not close out games behind them because they've won a lot of games going down the stretch here. And it's just like with the Lakers, their defense isn't that good to begin with. Even with Luka and AR on the floor, they're not on the floor. Those are their two leaders in minutes and points. You can't understate the value those two guys. Those are the two best fucking players, and they're not on the floor. And Luka was playing like at an MVP level in the month of March. You can't just dispute that and be like, "Oh, well, LeBron James is the GOAT." No, LeBron James is a fossil. LeBron James, per his own words, he goes to bed available. He wakes up doubtful. Okay, LeBron James isn't the answer. They're getting fucking swept. And another thing, the Rockets have been one of the best rebounding teams in NBA history this year. The Lakers are 26th in the NBA in rebounding, so it's just a tough matchup to begin with. They don't have the defensive. They don't have the offensive output to match the Houston Rockets offense that has been really inconsistent at times. They also don't have the defenders to match the Houston Rockets athletically. And Houston's an infinitely better rebounding team than the Lakers are. Oh, and they have fucking Kevin Durant, who's a way better player at this point in his career than LeBron James is. So I don't know what we're talking about here with the Lakers and LeBron James has one more run in him. No, he fucking doesn't. They're getting swept. What a break. But I mean, we can play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton both have a lot of playoff experience. That's something they could lean on. They could get a few good games out of those role players. They just need two generational performances out of LeBron James, which I'm sure he still has a couple of those in him. They're going to need one of these other guys to step up, like a Jake LaRavia, like a Luke Kennard. They're going to need somebody to step up in a major way. Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton need to be really good defensively. DeAndre Ayton needs to look interested in the game of basketball. And maybe they have a chance if they can bear down on the defensive side of the ball, apply pressure to Kevin Durant and force Hammond Thompson to make a bunch of threes. And he's 21%. Like, Amen Thompson. Let's get into the Houston Rockets. We're getting very underrated. I think the Rockets are a really underrated team. They come into the playoffs as a 5 seed, but they were only 2 games back of the 3 seed. They also ended the season winning 9 of their last 10 with wins over a bunch of garbage teams and the New York Knicks. But it's worth noting that they are hot, and it's a Rockets team that struggled to close out games a lot early in the year. They're finally starting to close out games. I worry about them in a half-court offense without Fred VanVleet, who's the primary ball handler. They're also not very deep. Like Reed Shepherd has been terrific for them over the past few months of the season, shooting 40% from three, averaging about 14, 15 points per game. He's going to have to be huge for him. If you're leaning on Reed Shepherd to be a real scoring spurt off the bench, he's 21 years old. You're not going to go far in this playoffs. Luckily, Luka and AR are out, and the Rockets have been one of the best rebounding teams. They have the best rebounding differential since 1971. That's how dominant they are. They're obviously leading the league in rebounding difference. So that's a real advantage for them against a Lakers team that doesn't rebound the ball well at all. But they just don't have a lot of depth. I don't know if I trust them down the stretch. Jabari Smith has not been good against top opposition. I wouldn't call this Lakers team top opposition, quite frankly, without their two best players, their two leading scorers, their two leading guys in minutes. But it's still better than half the league at least. And Kevin Durant on a 28% usage rate is ridiculous, especially when you get into these half-court scenarios when the game slows down and you have a 21% three-point shooter in Amen Thompson. That makes it really easy for defenses to blitz KD if you can't space the floor correctly. So then you have to take Thompson off the floor, but he provides you such juice defensively in transition and on the glass, and even as a little bit of a secondary scoring option. It's like, what the fuck do you do if you're the Rockets and you go into the second round against the best defensive team in the league over the past 2 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Amen Thompson can't shoot a three, you can't space the floor correctly, and there's a lot, and lanes are clogged for KD, lanes are clogged for Amen Thompson. There's a lot of interior presence down there with Chet and Hartenstein on Alfred and Sengun. So it's like there's a really tough match in the second round for Houston. But I do think they're a little bit underrated. I wouldn't go as far to say like on my Eastern Conference. Go like, subscribe, follow, go listen to the Eastern Conference preview. Yesterday when I was talking about the Eastern Conference, I did say how I think the Cavs are a sneaky team. I think the Rockets are sneaky, but not in the same capacity. Like I think the Rockets have no chance to get out of the Western Conference. Zero. I think if it's the top three teams are the top three teams. And after that, the only team I'd wager to get out of this conference is the Timberwolves because Anthony Edwards could just take over the league this year, which is completely plausible. Like, I don't want to rule that out. Would be shocked. But like it's outside of those top three teams, I would be shocked if any of these other teams make a real push. But I do think the Rockets take care of just the injury riddled LA Lakers team. That's just despicable. Shout out Reed Shepard though, and I think the Rockets are still in a good spot, but they have no depth. Like Tari Eason, Reed Shepard, that's your like sixth, seventh man off the bench. Well, I guess Tari Eason starts. Steven Adams, like that's what we're doing. I can't get behind that. Josh Okogie, Dorian Finney-Smith, are seventh, eighth rotation pieces. Like that's just not. It's not good. It's a lot of load on Reed Shepard. The Timberwolves are the last team we'll go over today because I went over all those other teams in the NBA play-in preview. Anthony Edwards simply doesn't lose in the playoffs. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals. He averages 2 more points in the playoffs than he does in the regular season over his career. But the Warriors were without Steph Curry last year and Jimmy Butler, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think Jimmy did play. Jimmy did play. This is likely the best version of Anthony Edwards we've seen. Still only 24 years old. He's most efficient scoring season from the field and beyond the arc. He averaged the most points he ever has in a single season. But the supporting cast is just suboptimal. I don't think there's a star player in the Western Conference that has accomplished more with less than Anthony Edwards has, where his second and third scoring options have been Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo or Karl Anthony Towns. And Rudy Gobert is a good player, but he offers you little to nothing offensively. And Edwards has just carried and carried and carried. But unfortunately, I think this team is worse than last year's team. And I think the West is better this year. And we've seen the ceiling with this Timberwolves core of Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and that is Western Conference Finals. The West has gotten better. The Timberwolves have stayed the same, or they've gotten worse. So I think the T-Wolves can win a series. I'm not ruling them out against the Denver Nuggets because I'll never completely rule out Anthony Edwards. I think he's that good. I think he's fringe top 5. I think he's probably the best shooting guard. No. Well, SGA. Does SGA count as a shooting guard or a point? Yeah, he's a shooting guard. So no, it's not Ant. But either way. I'm not ruling out the Minnesota Timberwolves because of Anthony Edwards, because they do play really, really good defense. They're 8th in defensive rating, but it's just the supporting cast is so fucking suboptimal. It's so mid. Ayo Dosunmu has been a decent acquisition. Terrence Shannon ended the year 23, 33, 25 or something ridiculous in the bench minutes. So maybe if he can be a little bit of a spark off the bench, and maybe that's just the college basketball fan in me thinking optimistically about Terrence Shannon going on a run in the playoffs. But it's just like there's not a whole lot of scoring output outside of Ant, and then it's like Julius Randle done. No disrespect to Julius either, who I think is a really underrated player. I think he can be a third option on a championship team, not a second, especially if the next best player in terms of scoring the basketball is fucking Dante DiVincenzo. Jaden McDaniels, like, no, that's not good enough. And unfortunately, Ant needs a running mate. Go get Giannis this offseason if you're in Minnesota. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. I'll have a full NBA playoff prediction for you guys next week and a million draft videos. Get ready to get your timeline spammed. Hit that subscribe button.